All right. I think we are trying to stream on the Facebook right now, and I think we got the recording going, and I'm really excited to bring this training to you guys tonight. So do me a favor and break out a piece of paper, something to write with, take some notes tonight, and hopefully, this can bring you some value. I don't think I've ever done this training before, but I'm really excited to bring it to you tonight. As most of you guys know, I'm in a process of finishing up a manuscript for a book that I hope to put out here in the next couple months. And I really feel like, I feel like the material is going to bring value to people. And as I was writing, and as I am writing, I'm realizing that there's a lot of information that I haven't that I'm putting in this material that I haven't even brought to, my own organization or to the overall organization. And so, I was just doing a lot of writing this weekend, and I was just thinking about the opportunity that we have and the opportunity that I've been granted, and thus all of you guys that are now watching this webinar and hopefully watching this playback, what sort of opportunity that we have. And sometimes it's really hard to explain. We kind of feel in our bones and in our meat of, our bodies that it's a great opportunity, but we don't really know how to explain it. How do you explain what's actually happening? I just call it the OPTAVIA effect half the time. I don't I don't know what's happening. And, and then I know that there's a lot of people that are watching this right now, and you might be new, and you're not fully aware or apprised of the opportunity that you have in your hand. And that was me. That was me exactly 7 years ago to the day. I started coaching in March of 2012 in the middle of the month. We shot out of the gates really fast. I was able to support my first 16 clients in my first 14 days as a coach. And then at the end of that month, I hung it up. I quit. I walked away from coaching altogether. I said, this isn't for me. This is too hard. I don't really understand all these different people. I certainly don't understand the personalities. I didn't understand how to deal with hard things. I had a lack of discipline. I didn't know how to deal with disappointment. And because of that, I quit. I walked away from, this amazing opportunity. I quit altogether. And I went back to my full-time job. I didn't want to, get on calls anymore after I got off of work. I didn't want to get on calls in between my lunch break at that time. Our 8-year-old son was only a year and a half at that time. And so as new parents, we were trying to figure out how to balance him and how to balance a marriage that was failing. And now we threw in this added chaos of becoming a coach. I wanted to earn more money. But I didn't want to do it if it meant I would have to sort of give up so much or rearrange my life so much and have to deal with clients at that time who, said they really wanted to reach these goals in their health. And then, a couple days or a week or 2 weeks into their program, they would quit. And I didn't know how to deal with that. All of this dysfunction that was going on, clients quitting and me doing so many health assessments and people weren't getting going, even though they said that they wanted to. And, it's just all this stuff. And I had a desire to, impact my life. I had a desire to go and earn more. At that point in time, I didn't have a desire to really impact the lives of other people the way that I do now. But I had a desire. There was a window that was open, and there were some things that I wanted to do in my life. I felt, not as fulfilled as I wanted to be. And I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to do it if that meant becoming uncomfortable, if that meant stretching me too much, if that meant like I was having to work too hard. And so over the last 7 years, I've come back, obviously, to coaching. It was my saving grace. Literally a month after I quit, we had an opportunity to go to something called National Convention, which by the grace of God, I showed up in Washington, D.C. as a brand new coach. At that time, I only had 5 clients. I was beating myself up because I was a new kid on the block, and all these people seemed to be so successful. And here I was only a few weeks into coaching, didn't really have that much experience. I didn't bring anyone with me. I didn't even have any money at that time. I put the whole trip on a company credit card from the company I was working with. And so I felt insecure. While all these people seemed to understand OPTAVIA and the opportunity they had, I was a new guy and I didn't get it. And within 2 days of being at this national convention in Washington, D.C., I started to understand some of the things that I hope I do a good job of explaining tonight. It didn't take me very long. It took me 2 days for me to understand, economics, to understand the business, to understand the model that we have, and to understand how we can completely create freedom if we just understand some principles that I hope I do a good job of outlining tonight. So this is my first time ever doing this training like this. I don't know how long it's going to go, but I hope everything in my spirit hopes that it brings you value. I don't intend on stepping on anyone's toes. So if I step on your toes, just know I don't intend to. I'm really trying to come from a good place, and I'm trying to show all of us. I'm really speaking to me 7 years ago, who just didn't know a lot of stuff, certainly didn't know a lot of stuff about business, didn't know anything about economics, and didn't know anything to do, what to do with money, how I earned it, where it should go, all those things. So I don't intend to ruffle any feathers, and if I do, I want to apologize up front. And that's not my intentions, but let's dive into this thing and see what happens. So in order for this to be effective, please take notes. That's one of the biggest secrets that I can leave with you even before we get started, is to be a student. Would you allow your kids, for those of you guys who have kids, would you allow your kids to go to school without something to write with? Would you allow your kids, who we call our kids students, right? Will we allow them to go to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, 10th grade, and not even have a pen or a pencil or a paper, or at least a freaking notebook at some point, right? A laptop, something. But to go sit in a class and just sit there and just listen? No, that's not being a student. That is being an inactive participant. So in order for this stuff to make sense, we'll want to become students. So that means you'll want to have something to write with and to take copious notes. So let's see if I can get this thing pulled up. And I wish I could really see the some of the questions and things like that. So so let's dive into this thing. So this is Understanding Economics, Basic Economics, Cash Flow, and our OPTAVIA business model. I am Jamil Frazier. I'm an Integrated Presidential Director. Have been since basically, I think, 2015. I've learned a lot over the last 7 years, so I want to share some of these things with you. Obviously, we'll be talking about numbers and income and things like that, so I want to show the disclaimer right up front, and just know that some of these numbers are not correct. And when we get to those points in the presentation, I'll kind of outline that for you so that you have a clear view and understanding of what is correct and what's not correct. But it's going to be pretty much in the ballpark. So as we start to dive into this, let's talk about some basic economics. I started to learn the basics back in 2012, where I started to study Jim Rohn a lot more. And one of the things Jim Rohn taught me back then that really didn't even settle in until about a year ago was basic economics. So he says, you get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. You don't get paid for time. You get paid for the value you put into the time. And so we might ask, well, what is the marketplace? Well, the marketplace is all those people that are out there that make up our economy. So I used to think that I got paid for the time that I spent at a job. So if I went and I worked 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, that I got paid for that. I've since learned that that's not true. Because if I didn't get paid for that time, I got value. I got paid for the value that I put into that time. If I just got paid for that time, that I could say, I could just stay at home and, you know, have them send me my money. But that's not how it works. You go and the marketplace says, well, you've extended this amount of value to that time. Thus, we believe you should get paid X, Y, and Z. So when we're looking at the marketplace, it's basically the primary factor that determines how much you will earn based off of how valuable it feels that you are to the overall economy. And so I have some examples here. You know, when I graduated from college in 2004, I basically didn't bring that much value to the marketplace, so I didn't get paid that much. As soon as I graduated, I went back and I did what I knew how to do, which was all throughout college, I was a server at different restaurants. And when I graduated from college, I had no plans. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I had built a particular skill set with serving tables. I was really good at it. And so I went back and I started to do that at a place called Olive Garden. Do not get those breadsticks. I assure you, they are not healthy for you. So Olive Garden paid me $10 an hour, plus they allowed me to keep my tips. So you're saying, why did I only get paid $10 an hour once I went back and I became a server? Well, because the marketplace has determined I don't really bring that much value to the economy. Does this make sense? And because I don't bring that much value to the overall economy, they're only going to pay me $10 an hour. Now, I'm a valuable human being. I'm a valued member of my family. I'm certainly a valuable member to the human race and in the sight of God. But when it comes to our overall economy, I don't bring that much value, so they don't pay me that much. Once I left Olive Garden, I became a sales representative for a company called True Green Kimlon. My job was to go around door-to-door sales in a city called Pasadena, California. This was a summer job. It'd be about 100 degrees every single day. I would show up early, 7 a.m. in my territory, and until 4 p.m., I would walk door to door selling lawn care. And that was my job. And so they paid me $15 an hour plus my commissions. So you say, well, why did they only pay you $15 an hour? Because the work I was doing didn't bring that much value to our overall economy. So thus, they were only going to pay me $15 an hour. Now, once I left there, I was so tired of sales. I was tired of going door to door. I wanted a really easy kickback job to where I could just sit on MySpace all day and make connections and connect with my friends. So I got a customer service job at a place called AT Tours in El Segundo. And from 8 in the morning to 5 at night, I basically did nothing but sit on MySpace and download music. But I was okay with earning $13 an hour because it wasn't as hard as what I had just come from doing door-to-door sales. And so our overall economy says, Jamil, you don't really bring that much value to us. Thus, you're only going to get paid $13 an hour. Now, luckily at that time, I had run into my health coach and her son, and she actually gave me a place to stay at one of her properties that she owned, and she didn't charge me that much with rent. I think I first started out only paying like $400, even though I probably should have been paying like $1,500, $1,600. But she gave me a break so I could have a job that didn't pay me that much because I didn't have that many expenses. So once I got tired of not making that much money, I got into inside sales recruiting. Now, when I first started at the Cover Group, they only paid me $27,000 a year base salary, plus I got to keep my commissions. That year, even though I broke all these records, I won about 20 different plaques. I was a new kid on the block. I got Recruiter of the Year, and I got another award of the year. Even with all of those accolades, I only earned $35,000. Why? Because our economy says, Jamil, you're not that valuable to the marketplace. That's why. Once I left there, I built up a whole bunch of skills. We think about the things that it takes to be successful in our business. We say there's 3 things. You must, if you want to become a better coach, build up your skill sets. You must, if you want to become an extraordinary coach, build up your mindset. And you must have consistent action. So at that inside sales recruiting job, I started working on those 3 things. I built up my skill sets. I learned how to speak to people. I learned how to listen. I learned how to negotiate. I learned how to ask effective questions. I worked on my pitch, my tone, my diction, my discourse. I worked on my delayed gratification. I started to learn how to plant seeds, and I started to become patient and wait for those seeds to actually sprout. In fact, everything that it takes to become an amazing coach in OPTAVIA, I learned how to do at that inside sales recruiting job. And because of that, over the next couple of years, I built up my skill set, my mindset, and my actions. I started a relationship with a company called Johnson & Johnson, and I started becoming their primary sales recruiter. So they recruited me out of my inside sales job and said, why don't you just become a sales representative for us? That's how I got into pharmaceutical sales. Now, because we have a better product, because we are serving more people, because we are actually going out and impacting more of the marketplace, because they look at my job as bringing more value to the marketplace and bringing more value to more people, they pay me more. So this was the first time I started to earn a significant amount in my base salary. When I started there, they gave me a $55,000 base salary plus commissions. My first year there, I earned $87,000. Now, after working in pharma for a little bit, I now moved to a higher position to where the economy, the marketplace says, Jamil, now you're giving even more value to the marketplace, which is why we're going to pay you more. So when I started as a coach, I had a base salary at my medical consulting position of $72,000 plus commissions. We did 112 that year. Why? Because it's a more stringent sales. It requires more skill sets. It requires a higher mindset, and it requires for a person to get into more action. We had devices, and we had medical devices that served more of the marketplace and that help people more. And because of that, the economy, the marketplace says, you bring more value to us, we deem you more valuable, thus you're going to earn more money. Does this make sense? So if we ever want to earn more, all you have to do is bring more value to more people. This is why my wife, when we got married, she was in education. She was a behaviorist, but she didn't really make that much money. She did a great job. We needed someone like Amanda in our school systems. The problem was, one, she didn't have to actually have that high of skill sets. 2, she couldn't impact that many people. There was only like 15, 20 people in the classroom every day, which means all year she only has the ability to affect maybe 30 people. She's not bringing that much value to that many people. Thus, she's not going to get paid that much. And you see the same thing with a lot of our educators today. They are never actually going to earn probably as much as they should earn because they just do not bring as much value to enough people. And so our marketplace, our economy says, we don't really deem what you do to be all that valuable. So we're not going to pay you that much. Same thing with our social workers, same thing with our pastors, our clergy, same thing with a lot of job positions that probably should get paid that much. But our marketplace just says, you know, what you do isn't really that valuable to our overall economy. It's really important work, but for our economy to operate efficiently, it's just not that valuable, so we're not going to pay you that much. That's why I love our business model, because what we do, it brings so much value, and we have no limit to the amount of people that we can influence. I'll show you that over the next 60 minutes. So our business model, we have a blue ocean strategy. So OPTAVIA is extremely unique and it's extraordinary. It allows you to bring more value to more people. And as you do that, you actually buy more of your life back. This is what I saw at that first convention, which got me really excited. We have complete transformation. When people come into OPTAVIA, they come in the front door, and by the time they get out the back door, they're a completely different person. Haven't you guys seen that? Put a 1 in a comment if you have seen that. If that's you, in fact. You came in the front door and you were less of a person than you are right now. Put a 1. It's a new business model, which I'll show you. We've incorporated successful elements from a variety of different business models to create what you have now, thus making it a blue ocean strategy. It's wide open to anyone who wants it. So when you look at some of the other businesses that are out there, by the way, you are a business owner, but we have taken the best of some of the other business models that are out there, and we've conglomerated. We literally put it all into one, which has made up our coaching model. So if you look at personal trainers and fitness centers, and you look at how they can work on a 1-to-1 ratio with their clients and their customers, but also they can expand if they want to. Same thing with our physician and medical care. Our doctors do a great job of working one-on-one with their patients, but they also, and they can stay that way. They can stay that way while working one-on-one with their patients. The big problem is they're not going to really make that much money. Again, why? Because they're not going to bring that much value to that many people. If they want to start to expand their finances, they will have to expand their practice. There's no other way. They're going to need to bring more value to more people in the marketplace. Once they do that, marketplace says, we deem you to be more valuable. Thus, Mr. and Mrs. Doctor, physician, we're going to pay you more. Okay, very important. So we've taken part of the physician model and have merged it into our coaching model. Now, if you look at restaurants and restaurant chains, again, you can just service, in one location, your customers and your clients that come to your restaurant. You can do that, no problem. You could live a whole life with doing that. Again, that's limiting because you are only going to be able to serve so many people. Earning more money is all about how many people you can impact. So if I want to start earning more, then of course I'm going to start to have more chains of restaurants because that way I can serve more people. It always comes down to how many people can you impact. So what we've done in OPTAVIA is we've taken the best out of these models and we've wrapped them up into one. So we have basically 3 different levels of engagement. We have our health coaches. Our health coaches, we work with our clients on a 1-to-1 ratio, which I love because it's the same thing that a personal trainer can do. It's the same thing that a physician can do. And again, it's the same thing that I could do if I just started a little restaurant on a corner. I could sit there and flip, organic turkey burgers all day and have a 1-to-1 ratio with me and my clientele, right? And get paid for that, which you should. So the same thing happens with you as a health coach. If you go and you acquire a client and you serve that client, you get paid for that. Now, there's not that many skill sets that come with that. So guess what? The marketplace is going to say, well, 1, you're only serving a certain amount of clients, which is a limited amount. 2, you don't really have to have a high skill set for that. So we're going to pay you, but we're just not going to pay you that much. Now, the beauty about what we do and what Dan Bell and Dr. A and all these amazing people said is they said, we want to establish a model to where someone can earn a full-time income on part-time work with just servicing their clients or their patients. So this is why later on in the presentation, I'm going to show you why people who are at the executive director level can literally earn a full-time income even though they're only coaching part-time and even though they're only coaching clients and or their patients. Isn't that amazing? Now, the second level of engagement is what we call a business coach. So business coaches now, what they've done is they're a health coach, they're servicing their own clients, but now they're starting to support coaches and they're starting to help coaches become successful. And because they're doing that, they are going to touch and impact directly and indirectly more lives. And again, anytime you serve more people, you are going to earn more money. Does this make sense? So as a business coach, this is one of the reasons why, as you're building your business, we really talk about building it on a solid foundation. One, we're going to go out and service clients and coaches, but two, at the same time, we want you to become integrated. We want you to build the blended path because it's going to allow you to impact more people. Thus, the economy is going to say you're more valuable. Thus, you're going to get paid more. Does this make sense? Now, a business leader, I'll show you later on in the slide deck why this is so important. So as a business leader, you're not only taking care and servicing your own clients and your patients, you're not only helping some coaches become successful, but now you have an overarching view of an entire organization. Now you're helping an entire organization become successful. And you're helping an entire organization go serve more people. And because you are doing that directly and indirectly, you're impacting way more lives, way more than my wife could ever impact in her classroom. Not even close. There's no borders to this either. I mean, the lives that you can impact, you don't even know half these people. In fact, I would go to a level, say you only know maybe a handful of these people, but you're still impacting all of these lives indirectly through you and via your organization. And because you're touching so many lives, because you're bringing so much value to the marketplace, you're going to get paid way more. And the beauty of this is, unlike someone who's a health coach, or unlike someone who's a personal trainer, or unlike someone who's just a physician, or unlike someone who just owns one restaurant, you're actually going to have, as you move to a business leader, you're going to have more time, not less. All the folks that work on a one-to-one ratio, they're actually always going to be complaining about not having enough time. You hear it everywhere you go. Don't you put a 3 in the comments if you run into people that every single day who are complaining about not having enough time. So when I run into these people, I think immediately you should become a coach. And in fact, you should become a business leader with OPTAVIA. And I'll start to show you. So the strategy in business development is this. We're client and patient focused. We stand alone. And we want to move to an expansion model to where we are servicing more people in the marketplace, clients and coaches. So if you own a restaurant, what does their strategy and their model look like to where it would fit sort of our strategy in our model? Well, take someone like, man, I hate to use McDonald's. Who could we use? Who's somewhat healthy as a restaurant? Let's take Chipotle. Everybody knows Chipotle, right? You guys familiar with Chipotle? Well, Chipotle could just have one location. This is you as a single coach. Now, with one location, remember, they're always going to be capped with how much they can earn. Why? Because they only have the ability to serve and to bring value to a small number of people. Now, that might be good, but that's not great. What's great is for us to go and impact more people. The way that we do that is we're just going to start a restaurant chain, or we can start to franchise. Because we're going to start all of these restaurant chains in so many different states and cities, then we are going to directly and indirectly start impacting, influencing, and bringing more value to more people, which means you're going to earn a heck of a lot more. So we don't need to sit around and hope, wish, or pray. All we have to do is expand ourselves. Does this make sense? So the great thing with our business model is, one, we are able to control our own time and our own finances, which when I understood this after my first or second day at that first national convention, I saw this slide and it empowered me to the 10th degree. At that point, I had already been working about 8 years in the marketplace. And I didn't have much to show for it after working 8 years. And while I was at convention, I saw all of these people talking about how they had all this time and all this freedom. And they had been working their coaching businesses about the same amount of time that I had been working for all those companies I just showed you. And so at that point in time, I said, well, heck, man, what if I just spent 8 years working diligently in my business? Is it possible for me to now have the time freedom that I want and the financial freedom that I want? And this is what happens. So take a look at this scale. On this axis here, we have income. On this axis here, we have time. So when we have coaches that come in and all they want to do is work with clients, which is admirable. I'm not taking anything away from that. We need you. California needs you. The Midwest needs you. The East Coast needs you. Our country needs you, right? Because you're now bringing value to people who need what we have. They're looking for a solution. All I'm saying is if someone really wants to go help more people or they want to earn more, then and all our mindset is servicing clients, we are going to have a plateau. Your income's going to plateau because your value that you can bring is going to plateau. And the value that you can bring is going to plateau because there's only 24 hours in a day. You can only do so much as one person. And so your income is going to suffer from it. Same thing when I was working in that customer service position. My income was only going to get incrementally better. It was never going to take the jumps that I want. Why? Because I'm not going to be able to bring that much value to that many people in 8 or 10 hours. I'm just one dude. However, if I figured out a way to bring more value, to bring more impact, and to impact more lives, then my time and my income is never going to plateau because there's always people to impact. So when you start as a coach, initially, you can shoot out of the gates with just helping and supporting clients. You see that here? That's that green line. Now, it is going to take longer, and I'm going to explain why it takes longer a little bit later. Now, if you're helping clients and coaches, it's going to take longer time to get your income to where you want to, but oh my gosh, once that happens, it's going to not just increase, it's going to multiply. And that is what you see that happens in any successful endeavor. Now, the same thing is true when you talk about time. Initially, you're going to put in a certain amount of time into your coaching business. It's going to take a little bit. I mean, if we're just servicing clients, we're not going to have to spend that much time. But we're not going to get that much time either. So if we're that sort of person that's always complaining about time and you want to buy your life back, servicing clients is good. It's just not great if you're looking to have more time. Now, if we start working with clients and coaches, it's going to take more of your time at the beginning. But at the end, you're just not going to add on time. You're going to multiply time. And so your income is not going to waver because you're bringing more value to more people. And your time is not going to waver. You're going to be able to have all your time back. Just look at some of the people that you see in our coaching family. The Karen Elstroms of the world, the Kim Fisk of the world, the Brian Drollingers, the Dr. A, the Doug Woods, the Dan Valentine, the Jamil Frasers. All these people have spent more time at the beginning, delayed gratification, because they understood in the end they would actually have more time. Most people are not taught this, and so they'll run out to what's easy at the beginning only to plateau and to be frustrated down at the end. So what's so great about our business is we have a broad appeal. So we appeal to everyone that's out there in the marketplace. And what we want to do is fill our funnel with all these people. So lay people, who would want to be clients or coaches? Lay people, all the people that make up our general population, but also all the health professionals, the people that are seeing patients every single day, that already have a huge network of people that need what we have. What about fitness professionals? What about the specialty niches? What about corporate wellness? All these folks can fill this larger funnel. And now we can go on and bring solutions to whatever issues they have. So a big question is, are we an MLM, multi-level marketing? This is one of the big ones. What I learned from one of my mentors years ago, Dan Bell, is he said, well, Jamil, let me just ask you a question. Is Keller Williams an MLM or network marketing company? Do you guys know Keller Williams? He says, what about Primerica? He says, what about Legal Shield? Are all those companies MLMs or network marketing? Or do they have the same model that we do and they're looked at as traditional businesses? So if we don't look at them as MLMs, there's no way we can look at OPTAVIA as the same. So let's look at the two different models. A lot of people will say, are you network marketing? Are you MLM? Maybe this was going to bring some value to you so you can start to understand how to explain that. Because in a traditional MLM, you have what they call a wholesale buying. I was just talking to a guy who was a distributor for Avocare, or no, the other one. What's the other one? The other one, I forget. But I was on the phone with my cousin, and we were talking to one of his buddies who was a distributor for one of these companies. And one of the things he was exhausted by was having to buy all this product at wholesale and keep it in his house, in his car, and then having to turn around and sell that product to the end user. We don't even do that. In fact, it's against our company policy and our values to just stock up and store up a whole bunch of products. No, every single person, there's a real person on the end of every purchase that we have at OPTAVIA. This is why, I don't want to get into it, but this is one of the reasons why our stock price is so high, because investors understand that we're just not buying stuff just to buy it, right? Our coaches don't stock up, we don't have inventory, and there's no fake people on the other end of that, other end of that transaction. We don't have inflated product costs. So our product prices are in line with what other channels are. We don't have inventory, and we don't have distributors. We have coaches that actually coach their clients and their coaches. And because you actually coach your clients, you get paid for it. So let's look at network marketing and OPTAVIA. In traditional MLM, you have minimums, minimum to no personal sales. So most of the volume comes from people wanting to use the product and becoming distributors and buying the products for themselves. There's really no end user. At OPTAVIA, we have high average frontline volumes because we actually have other people on the other end of that transaction. So in a traditional MLM, when sales occur, it's individual products. Well, we offer program systems versus individual products. In traditional network marketing, you have pitching. In OPTAVIA, we never talk about that. We always talk about sharing and caring. Very empathetic, autonomy supportive approach. If a person's not ready, we're not trying to get you to do this, right? We want you to make a decision and for you to be ready. And once you're ready, we can take you by the hands. And now we can assist you to reach your agenda, not ours. In traditional network marketing, it's all about closing the deal. Here, we really find a match that works for you. So let's dive into a little bit more. Traditional network marketing, the compensation plans are very, very hard to earn any income in. You have to have a binary system. You have to have a 2x2. This leg has to have this, and so on and so forth. Our compensation plan says if you establish a client, you get paid for that client, right? You don't get paid for acquiring coaches. You get paid for helping your coach become successful, as it should be. Oftentimes, traditional MLMs are using manipulation. Here it's a win-win. I help you win, I win. Low success rate. We have a very high success rate in comparison to the industry. High attrition. We have very high retention in comparison to the industry. Monthly auto ship minimums tied to compensation. We don't have that. Now, it's a great habit of health for your business, but you do not have to order personal volumes in order to get paid. Now, is it something that I would highly encourage you to do? Absolutely. But again, you get paid for every client that you service. So it's just a different perspective. What would we look like if Blue Cross, Aetna, or Kaiser, had created a weight loss lifestyle and coaching network called OPTAVIA? What would that look like? It would look exactly like what we do right now. So here are the opportunities that are out there. And some of the things that's really important, and I'll kind of breeze through this, but basically, you guys, look, we bring solutions to the marketplace. I've already explained to you that the marketplace is made up of a whole bunch of people. A whole bunch of those people have issues that we have solutions for. So our job is to bring solutions to the marketplace. So there are literally 323 million people in America. There are more obese Americans than anywhere else in the world. 2 out of 3 men in the United States are overweight or obese. 2 out of 3. The rates for women are even higher than that. About 3/4 of our population is overweight or obese. That's around 220 million people just in the United States alone. About $147 billion is spent in added medical expenses per year, and it's expected to raise every single year. Obesity kills 100 to 400,000 people per year, costing our society an estimated $117 billion in direct services. You're a part of that, by the way. The healthcare costs associated with weight is nearly double that of smoking. I say all this stuff to simply say there's a lot of people that need you, and there's a lot of people that need me. The opportunity is there for anyone who wants it. There's not a shortage of people that need what you have. There's not a shortage. I wish there was a shortage of people, but unfortunately, there's not. Did you know that 62% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings? That is 6 out of the 10 people you walk past today, including the people at your job, at the mommy groups you're a part of, 6 out of 10 posts you scroll past on Facebook, 6 out of 10 people at your church. Yes, even some of those people who are driving the 7 Series 2018, 2019 BMW have less than $1,000 in savings. This is facts. This is not hopium. This is not making up stuff. This is a problem. To where in the wealthiest country ever known to man, you have 6 out of 10 people that have less than $1,000 in savings, and yet you'll have coaches say nobody wants to coach. You got to be kidding me. I just showed you all the people who are potential clients, and now I'm showing you all the people who are potential coaches. 21% of people in our country have no savings at all. That's 2 out of 10 people that you walk past, adults. That's not good. About 30% of the people have less than $1,000 in retirement savings. About half of our population, 46%, have less than $10,000 put away for retirement. That's not good. That's about 50% of the adults don't even have $10,000 in retirement savings. That was me 7 years ago, by the way. All these stats was me. A little less than half Americans, 40%, plan to work until they die. Simply stated, there's a lot of people to help. There's no shortage of opportunity. So how do we help solve all these problems? We sponsor more coaches. Look, we're going to need a lot of people, a lot of coaches that have the same passion, work ethic, desire, values as you do in order to bring some sort of solution to our marketplace. There's no shortage of people that need you and that need me. but we're not going to be able to do it on our own. And this is directly tied into your financial legacies. I've been explaining it to you. If you want to earn more, you bring more value to more people. So why do coaches sponsor? Let's just look at it. So for one, it's just fun. I mean, this business gets really fun when you start doing it with other people. It just really does. I mean, most coaches will tell you they love coaching clients, but they're in love with coaching coaches. Because once you start to help another human being, another adult, start to find success in their life that they didn't even know was possible, that becomes addicting. So it's just fun. You know, we really believe in Dr. A's mission, and we understand the implications for not doing so. I just showed you all the stats. That has a direct effect on you, by the way, as well, because those costs have to go somewhere. Guess where those costs go? To you, to me, unless we do something about it. They love the idea of offering a full trilogy to people. They want to leave financial legacies and resources and income. They understand that compensation plan and want to maximize it. They want to become leaders, grow personally, professionally, and consciously. This is just some of the reasons why coaches sponsor. I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. So 6 reasons why OPTAVIA is a massive opportunity. Number 1, I just went over it. We have the right market space. There's no shortage of opportunities for someone that really wants to impact the market. It's not like we're selling, I don't know, what's something that people absolutely don't need. You know, it's not like there's a shortage of people that don't need the solutions that we can bring. Again, unfortunately, they're all over the place. Reason 2 is the right company. OPTAVIA, partnered with Medifast, is just an incredible company. Has a strong corporate and field leadership. It's a trusted and reputable company, has vast credibility. It's a New York Stock Exchange company. It's financially solid, literally $80 million in cash sitting in the bank with no debt. That is unheard of, you guys. For all of your friends and family members that are sort of are like some of the people that I have around me that's still waiting for this thing to fold, it ain't gonna happen. Not with $80 million in the bank and no debt, and just getting stronger and stronger every year. It's FDA inspected manufacturing facility. I mean, our fuelings are top grade, are top notch. They are the industry standard. Literally, physicians have been prescribing our fueling since before many of you guys were even born. Okay, so this stuff is legit. Reason number 3 is the right program and products. Again, it's been a leader for 37 years, been prescribed by over 20,000 doctors. It's proven. We have a clean label. It's just great stuff. You guys know this by now. Reason number 4, our model of business. I just went over it. It's unique. It's not like anything else that's out there. In fact, so many companies are trying to mimic and sort of copy the model that OPTAVIA has put out there. I mean, literally, it's borrowed all of the greatest elements from the financial services industry: direct sales, franchising, multi-level, internet marketing, direct marketing. I showed you the physician model. It's taken all of the unique and awesome pieces of those models and wrapped it up into one. It's amazing. Reason 5, the right compensation. I still wonder how and why they are paying us so much. I mean, but the pay is based off of your efforts, earnings to further your financial goals, extra income immediately. You get paid immediately. You sign up a client today, next Wednesday you get paid for them. There's so many people, I just told you the stats on how many people are reaching retirement that don't have it. So we give them opportunities to build up that nest egg in financial independence. So reason 6 is just the right time in the right place. It's a perfect timing. You look at some companies that really exploded. One company I studied was a company called Kentucky Fried Chicken. One of the reasons why Kentucky Fried Chicken exploded as a company is it was the right time. They started the company during World War II. More men were away at war than any other time in American history. We had a lot of single mothers at home taking care of the family. This was the start of fast food chains. They made a product, which was their fried chicken, that was fast, it was safe, it was tasty, it was inexpensive. And people were not health nuts at that time. Because of that, Kentucky Fried Chicken literally exploded with success. Timing is everything. Look at timing that we have right now for our business, for our company. There are just more people that are more unhealthy now than ever before. We have a greater epidemic of people being overweight and obese. We have more people that are stressed out these days than ever before in history of the world. We have more people, even though we're the most wealthiest, financially stable economy ever in the history of the world. There's still such a large segment that's struggling financially. If this isn't the right time, when is it? So the timing is just perfect. And we just have predictable transformation. You know just as well as I do, if someone actually comes in and does what we suggest for them to do, if they come in that front door, by the time they walk out of the back door, they will be transformed. We're not hoping, we're not wishing. I'm not going to sit and pray and chant about it. I know it for a fact that if they listen and they utilize our products and our services and our coaching and our model the way it's intended to use, they will change. But listen, none of that matters until you know your why. I can sit here and talk about this stuff for days, but it's going to go through one ear and in one ear and go out the other, unless you got a strong fundamental why. When I went to that first national convention, my why was to save my marriage. My why was to keep my son in my house. My why was to create a financial legacy that I never had to wait for another person, woman or man, to help me be successful. My why was to go and impact the marketplace. What's your why? Because there are generally three types of coaches that we see. Type one is the I want to help people. I want purpose. I want passion. I want community. Type two is I want income, time freedom, financial independence, and control. Type three tends to be a combination of the two. But what we see is the I want to help people. They want to help people, and this was me. Remember I told you I quit? I want to help people as long as it's convenient. I want to help people as long as it's easy. I want to help people as long as it's not scary. And I want to help people as long as it doesn't get me out of my comfort zone. Was that just me, or is that other people that are out there too? Possibly is it you? So I want to help people as long as it doesn't make me stretch or grow. How about the I want or need to make more money type of people? This was me too. But I only want to do that as long as it was convenient, as long as it wasn't too hard, as long as it wasn't too scary, as long as it didn't get me out of my comfort zone, and as long as it didn't make me stretch and grow. Oh, I hoped, I wished, I wanted it, as long as it didn't make me do those things I just outlined. So whether you know it or not, you're a business owner. Just like this dude right here is a business owner. Just like this guy right here is a business owner. You don't have a brick and mortar, but I can assure you without a shadow of a doubt that your business is so much more impressive than nearly 90% of the businesses you walk past every single day. Let me show you. There's a TV show called Shark Tank. Have you guys heard of it? Put a 4 in the comments if you have. So Shark Tank, the premise is you have all these entrepreneurs that come to these sharks who are investors, and they say, this is my business idea. This is what we've been doing. I'm going to come to you. I'm seeking a loan for you to invest in my company. One of the first things that the sharks ask is basically, how much have you invested in your own company? And if these people have not made a financial investment in their company, the sharks never invest. Why? Because you got to have some skin in the game. Okay. The other thing is they say, how many sales have you had? How much revenue have you accumulated? In our language, that's what does your group volume look like? So what's so amazing about this is we look at people that come on the Shark Tank and we're amazed by them. Oh my gosh, they have such amazing businesses. They're on the Shark Tank, right? Let me show you something. We have so many people in our coaching family that have over $1 million in revenue just this year. It's certainly last year, okay? I'm just gonna show you some faces. And I didn't even put half the people on here. I got tired of copying and pasting names. Okay, so like all these people, and yet only a handful of the people that take their businesses to the Shark Tank have more revenue in their businesses than all those people I just showed you. And again, I didn't even put half the people on there. Isn't that amazing? But we look at these folks because they're on TV as if they have these amazing businesses, to where our opportunity is so much greater than the opportunities we even see on the big screen. Isn't that amazing? So why are all those businesses so big? All those people I showed you, it's because they have lots of coaches in those organizations, which means they directly and indirectly bring value to more people. And anytime you bring more value to more people in the marketplace, guess what you will earn more of? Money. That's just how it is. It's gonna be like that. If you go and impact more people, then you're gonna earn more. That's just how it is. But if you're at a place where you can't impact that much people and our economy says you're not that valuable to our marketplace, you're not gonna earn that much. That's just how it is. So let's talk about the 4 people that make up the marketplace. Robert Kiyosaki wrote a great book called Cash Flow Quadrant. I love the illustrations from this book, and I started thinking about it in a way that I was building my business. So take notes on this, please. So there are 4 people that make up business and ultimately make up our economy. So the first quadrant, the majority of people are in this quadrant, and that's called the E's, and the E's stand for employees. This is what I was when I started coaching. I went to a job every day. I depended on that job to pay me money based off of the time or the value I put in the time while working for that company.
It's 7 o'clock.
Now I'll talk about some of the benefits and some of the what's the word I'm looking for? Some of the, whatever the opposite of benefits are of these different quadrants. So I'll get into that in a second. The S is the second quadrant. This is for those people who are self-employed. So this would be your accountants, your chiropractors, your, some of your attorneys, even some of your doctors, stuff like that. People that might have, personal trainers, your real estate agents, stuff like that, right? Your B's are your big business owners. We all know them. They're your Walmart, your Disney, your Nike, so on and so forth. And your I's are the people who are investors. Now, most people, when they start this business, they start on the left-hand side of the quadrant. They come in, they start coaching. They're usually employees or small business owners. So I want to talk about in depth the differences between each quadrant, because each quadrant is very different. And the people that make up these quadrants are very different. They all tend to have different mindsets and different emotions. So the E, take notes. The E, their emotion generally is fear. They have to have safety. They have to have comfort. They have to know what's going to happen. They don't typically walk by faith. They typically walk by sight. And because of that, there are a lot of limitations to the E quadrant. Now the S, they have a different emotion. The S generally becomes an S because they move from an E. An S generally probably worked as an E and got tired of it. And they got tired of someone kind of telling them what to do. They got tired of clocking in. They want to control more of their time, more of their days. But they have an emotion too. And their emotion is lack of trust. It's hard for them to trust people. And it's hard for them to trust systems. I'll talk about that a little bit more. The B, the people that make up this quadrant have an emotion too. And that tends to be patience. And the I, they tend to have an emotion too. And that emotion tends to be neutrality. So let's jump into it. So the E, their emotion is fear. Again, they tend to need safety and security. They are taught, go to school, get a safe, secure job with long-term stability and good benefits. And because that's what they're taught, that's generally what they do. They don't do well with unknown or change and generally have low emotional intelligence. This fear and low emotional intelligence shows up in all areas of their lives, their relationship, their marriages, even their investments. They tend to stay at jobs or in situations they hate for years because of fear. They tend to stay in relationships for that same way too. They even tend to invest with apprehension. They tend to freak out over the smallest things like clients canceling their premier orders, or the thought of someone saying no to them is very, very scary. Their core emotion is fear. Now, the hardest way to help people and earn good income is from the E quadrant. Why? Because it's very hard to impact more people and to bring more value as an employee. It's just hard to touch as many lives. That's why I spent so much time talking about how you earn more, is you serve more people. And it's hard to do that when you're an employee. And it's hard to earn more because of taxes. Meaning, if you got, let's just say you're an employee and you earn $50,000 a year. Now, the next year, let's just say something astronomically happened and you started earning $100,000 a year. The first line item out of your check is going to be taxes. You're going to have to pay them whether you want to or not. They already take taxes out of your check before you even get it. Now, I'm going to explain as a B, it's the complete opposite. And so it's hard to continuously earn more when you're an employee if it's being taken away from you. And so because of that, they tend to trade more and more time for money. If they want more money, this means they need to spend more time. This is why they're always complaining about not having enough time. If they want to earn more, then they need to spend more time to try to bring more value and put more value into that time. And thus, they tend to get stuck in what we call the rat race. So often when E's start coaching, this emotion of fear and mindset also tends to dictate how many people they help and who they reach out to unless they learn how to change the way that they think. So the biggest opportunity for a business leader or a business coach is actually to change the mindset of an E and an S, and to change that mindset to an abundance mindset, what B's typically have. So E's oftentimes do what I talk about a lot. They take a long time to do things that don't take that long, and they tend to make really easy things really hard to do because of fear. This was me, by the way. I was every single bullet point on here. It took me 3 months to do my first health assessment because I was scared that my coach would judge me too much or that people would say no. Isn't that crazy? But I had a mindset and an emotion and a mentality of an employee. And this is why most people will stay employees, because they're so scared. They're scared of everything. Now, an S is self-employed. So S also stands for they tend to be more satisfied because they really love what they do. They have a small business. They tend to be really smart. They're also Superman because their fear is trust. They don't trust anyone. And they also can be selfish because of this lack of trust. So these tend to be the rugged individuals. They want to do everything on their own. Because they are small, because they tend to be small-minded, they tend to stay small. And because of that, they can only serve a certain amount of people. And again, if they can only serve a certain amount of people, there's always going to be a cap on their income. If they don't start out right away as an S, they move from an E quadrant because they're tired of people telling them what to do, and they think they can do it better. Now, they don't have a job, they own a job where the job tends to own them. One of the biggest limitations of an S is they have no time freedom. They may be able to control their day. However, if they left from that practice or from that job, they wouldn't get paid. Why? Because the job owns them. It's not a brilliant place to be. Yes, they tend to have great job satisfaction because they're doing what they want to do, but they don't have freedom. Does this make sense? So if they decided to leave, then all their clients and patients would leave too because they are the job. So they might make a lot of money, but they just don't have a lot of time, and there's a cap on their earnings. Why? Because they're just one person. Now, this emotion as an OPTAVIA coach will make it really hard for them to sponsor and build teams. Why? Because they don't trust anyone. They don't trust the system. If it's going to get done right, they're going to do it themselves. So they tend to run high frontline volumes, but they don't have any coaches. Let's look at the Bs. Now, their core emotion is what we call patience. They have what I believe is the most important thing, which is delayed gratification. So unlike the E's, the B's believe the best security is the security they create for themselves. Their mindset is always abundance. They tend not to think in lack and scarcity. They don't say things like, this is too expensive, or I can't afford it. They tend to say things like, how can I afford it? They think the exact opposite of an E. In traditional sense, a B employs about 400 workers. In our language, that's about having an organization of 400 plus coaches. They are extremely generous, constantly looking for ways to serve more people and bring more value to the marketplace. A B would never think, let me just have one Chipotle store. They would think, how can I serve more people in more neighborhoods and more cities and more states and have a Chipotle store on every single corner? You see what I'm saying? It's a completely different mindset. The mindset is abundance. They tend not to think in lack and scarcity. They wouldn't say, well, let me just help one client. They wouldn't say that because they're constantly thinking about how can I serve more people. And because that's their mindset, they earn a heck of a lot more. So they understand that the fruits of their labor today may not show up for a week, a month, a year, 2 years, even 5 years. Remember, their emotion is patience and delayed gratification. This is the same emotion that tends to make them more financially independent than E's and S's as well, because they don't have to have all the new stuff right now. They don't have to go and do what the Joneses are doing. They don't have to, buy that new sexy car or all those Jordans or whatever, right? They tend to even wear the same thing for years. They tend to go have the same routines. They tend to go to the same restaurant. Because their emotion is patience and delayed gratification. They are focused on building systems, assets, and freedom. What is an asset? An asset is anything that continues to put money into your pocket even when you're not there. Now, that's the exact. When I saw this at my first national convention, and I said, for 8 years, I've been working, not building an asset. And now all I have to do is spend 8 years working in my business and just focus on building and buying assets. And that just made complete sense to me. So they believe in leaving legacies and passing hard work to the next generation. When I was an E, I worked hard. but I couldn't pass anything to my son. What could I give Ezra? Could I give him that business? What could I give to my future kids? I couldn't. I worked for 8 years, and if I decided to leave, it's not like I could say, hey, let me take a piece of that 8 years of sweat and equity and now pass it on to my children. No, but bees can do that. It's freaking awesome. They work on building systems that eventually will be able to run without them needing to be there. My coach, Karen Elstrom, I don't even know where she's at half the time, you guys. But she has a massive organization. Every time she comes back from a 2-week or a month or 2-month vacation, her organization gets bigger. Why? Because she's a bee. She's built something that operates without her being there. See that time freedom? So when people tell me, I'm so busy, Jamil, I say, you should coach, you should become a bee, you should really lead a large team of clients and coaches so you can buy your life and your time back. If not, you're going to live the rest of your life saying you don't have time. Well, we could just show you how to build something and become a business leader so that you can have more time. So investors are some of my favorite. When we talk about emotional intelligence, they are the epitome. A true investor is the epitome of high EI. So their emotion is neutrality. That's why I love building our business, because for you to become a business leader, you're going to have to get really good at managing your mindset of not getting upset about like half the things that most people get upset by, because you don't have control over it. So a true investor, their emotion is they're completely neutral. They're calm, they're steady. They have extremely high emotional intelligence. If someone comes to them with a problem, they say, no problem. Why? Because they know that there's always a way to figure it out. They'll say, how many books do I need to read? How many people do I need to ask? How many seminars do I need to go to? How many investors do I need to pitch this to? They're just chill. They've grown mentally strong enough to be able to withstand any dramatic change. This even shows up in their personal life. If their dog right now ran into the street and got hit and died, which as dramatic as that would be, guess what their emotion would still be like? I can tell you that a true investor would not go into a 3-year depression, because they've learned how to manage their emotions to the highest degree. They're the perfect example of E plus R equals O. They build a strong OPTAVIA business and use that income to build powerful portfolios. Because they've learned to become neutral from building a strong OPTAVIA business, they use that same technique when markets go up or down. They're not fazed by it. So which quadrant in mindset helps more people? Just think about it. Do the E help more people? Do the S? Do the B? Or do the I? So based off of how many people are impacted, that is going to be based off of what these folks' incomes look like. As an E, I used to be really excited about getting a raise every year. I would look forward to December and see in my review, in my yearly review, and if they gave me a $5,000 raise, I'd be so excited, you guys. I'd be so excited. I would run home and, kiss Amanda and say, oh my gosh, they gave me a $5,000 raise. Now I look at that, that's so silly. That's only an extra like $400 a month. Do you know, as a coach, you can give yourself a $12,000 month raise, a $20,000 month raise? I sort of asked this question to myself, Jamil, what were you doing sitting around waiting for these folks to give you a $400 a month raise, where you could just build up your skill set, your mindset, and your activity and move over here to a B and give yourself a $15,000 a month raise? Why would I sit around waiting for them to give me something that I could just do myself by becoming more, by building my skill set, my mindset, and getting to more action? That's the opportunity that all of us have as coaches. So because these guys serve more people, they're going to earn a heck of a lot more. And while they're earning a heck of a lot more, they're going to be able to enjoy that because they have more time. They've built system that is going to work whether they are there or not. See what I'm saying? But it's going to take patience and delayed gratification. It's not going to happen overnight. But the E's have to have stuff right now. If I work this week or 2 weeks, I put in my 40 hours, I need to get paid when? Now. Self-employees do it all the time. If I was a chiropractor and I gave you an adjustment, I'm going to extend an invoice to you when? Now. I'm going to get paid now. The B's don't have that emotion. I know I'm going to plant seeds today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and it may not sprout for 7 years, and I'm okay with that. Why? Because 7 years from now, I'm going to be able to have the freedom that this quadrant never even has the ability to have. Or they could have it, it's just going to take 60 years to have it, when I would like to do it in 10 years. So now we ask, well, what quadrants are the wealthiest? And I think we already know that. So let me just show you why this is so important. So I grabbed this from a coach, and I wanted to show you guys, this is really important. So this coach earned $92,000 in the month of March, okay? Now, that is their monthly income, not yearly income. That's their monthly income. Now, I want to show you why what we have is such an important opportunity. Oh my gosh, for people that jumped off, I'm so sad that they jumped off because I'm about to show them probably the most important thing. Okay, watch, this is the opportunity. So you remember the E's work on a one-to-one ratio, right? So they go to work, they do what they need to do, then they get paid. Now, what a lot of coaches do too is they work their businesses from the E or the S. So they'll go out and they'll just spend all their time acquiring clients and working with those clients. I'm going to show you why moving to a B makes so much sense. So this person who is clearly a B, just look at what percentage of their monthly income actually came from them working on a one-to-one ratio with their clients. So their certification bonus and their client support bonuses is their own work of them calling and supporting their own clients, okay? So that is basically 1.14% and 0.2 points. Let's just call it 2% of this entire $92,000 came from them working on a one-to-one ratio. Does this make sense? But what we're taught and what most people do is they go to work every single day working on a one-to-one ratio, and they don't have any time. And what we teach for folks that actually want to listen is you can do the exact opposite. Is you can get it to where you only spend less than 2% of your time working on a one-to-one ratio and spend the rest of your time building something that gives you ultimate freedom. So literally 95% of this person's income came from their business. Now, let me ask you this. If this person decided to leave for a month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, do you think that this would stop? No, it would continue to go even though this person wasn't even here. That's what I saw in July of 2012. That's when I turned to my coach and I said, I get it. I'm all in. Let's go and do this thing. That's what excited me to the 10th degree, to where I can go impact and bring more value to more people and earn income the way that I wanted to and have all my time. It felt like it was not possible, but it's so possible. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh! If you have coaches that jumped off now and didn't have a chance to see this, text them right now and say jump back on, because this is exciting. Can you imagine every single month, if you wanted to, you left, and this still is funneling in? Isn't that amazing? That's what sort of opportunity that you have, because you've moved from an E mindset of fear, safety, and comfort You move from an S mindset, which is I'll just do it myself, to a B mindset, which is how can I serve more people and bring more value to the economy and to the marketplace and build an asset, a true asset. Oh my gosh. And now take all that income that you get from building your asset and now go invest it. This is how you build wealth, my friends. So here's the secret. So to earn a healthier income, you just need to provide more value. It's not impossible for the E and S to provide more value. It's just so much harder to do. And yet they think it's easier. It's so crazy. They will work harder. They will work longer. More people in those groups pay taxes. They get to keep less of it. They work for years without building true assets to leave behind for their heirs. They tend to find themselves with too much muck and not enough money. Here's another secret. And this is one of the biggest secrets. Please write this down. As an E, you get paid, and the economy or our government says, we want our money right now. So they take your taxes away, right? So if you earn $3,000 a month, when you get your actual check, you only have like $2,200, right? Now, as a B, you can earn the same $3,000 a month, and what the government says is, hey, why don't you keep your $3,000? Why don't you spend as much as possible on authentic business expenses, and then whatever you have left over, we'll tax you on that. Oh my gosh, you guys, that is the biggest loophole and secret ever, because you get to keep more of your money to build your business even faster. This is why it's so much faster to build wealth on this side, simply because you get to keep more of it. And you have more control over when you actually spend your taxes. Once I started to realize this, I thought, how could I ever go back over here? Right? Like, think about if an E earned $92,000 in that month. Straight away, about $33,000 would be taken out of their check. Now, over here, these guys earn $92,000 for that month, and they get to keep it and spend it on true business expenses, like convention, like planning big trips for more of their teams for training, right? And every time they invest back into their business, more people, you bring more value to more people, which means you earn more. Man, if this isn't making sense, I don't know how I can explain it better. So another secret is mind your own business. Within your business, you start out as an S. You start out as a small business owner. If you choose to stay there, you'll either continue to work really hard, helping a few people and seeing a plateau in your income, or you can decide to move to a B by sponsoring and building a model of duplication and teaching others how to sponsor. Remember, the emotions of a true B is all about patience, giving up the good right now and comfort right now for the greatness of, 2, 3, 4 years later. Consistency and having an extreme amount of focus on finding more people to serve and building more assets. This comes down to delayed gratification. Now, the power of consistency is a huge secret. I always talk about it, but I'm not sure if people actually understand it. The B's understand consistent and delaying gratifications. They will work very, very hard in June without having that much success, knowing that they're working really hard for June, not for June, but for November or next November. Their mindset is so much farther out in the future. They actually do this thing. They lead from the future, they act in the now, which is our first fundamental principle of our habits of transformational leadership. They are leading from the future. They've gone to the future and said, I want to create this. And they come back to the now and they work hard every single day with extreme amount of consistency to make that happen, understanding that the work that I do today may not bring me or yield me that much fruit, but it will over time. And what they don't do is they don't mess up their consistency, right? Because summer comes, they don't say, well, the kids are out of school, let me just take the whole summer off. No, a B never does that. Now, an E does that, an S might do that, but a B never does that. They would never even think about doing that. Why? Because their emotion is completely different. Their emotion is patience. Their emotion is delayed gratification. Their emotions is building something now so that it can funnel in a lifetime of wealth. They don't think about today. They think about years down the road. This is the biggest secret, you guys. I'm just trying to give it to you straight. So there's 4 progressive steps of transformational mastery in coaching. Obviously, we all start out as coaches. This is why I love not only our economy, but our business. Because anyone can start this business for $200. And anyone can move to become a Fibble who wants to. It's amazing. We don't need to worry about, discrimination or none of that stuff. Anyone who has the desire to can do it. That's why I love it. It's a blank slate. It's a blue ocean strategy. So we start as a coach. We move to senior coach, then blended path ED, then FIBC, then Fibble. We never have to try to figure out, well, what's the next step for me? It's already shown for you. We all start out as a health coach. Okay? We all start out as a health coach. Then our first goal is, let's see if we can go support our first 5 clients. We're going to earn somewhere between $300 and $500. Now, the next step is not manager, associate director, director, for those that want to. The next step is what we call blended executive director. We already know the steps is laid out for us. So once we hit senior coach, we're already turning our mindset to, okay, blended executive director. I am now going to go and start servicing clients and coaches. Why? I just spent the last hour and a half explaining why. Because you bring more value to more people to the marketplace. You build a stable business that eventually brings you freedom. I mean, that's just how it is. So we built a blended executive director. Now, on average, a blended executive director is going to earn about $2,000, $2,200 per month. Now we're starting to build extreme stability. Now, the next step is what we call FIBC, Fully Integrated Business Coach. That's here. Now we're starting to build an amazing, stable business. This is the true foundation of the genesis of freedom. Why? Because you're operating as a small business owner, servicing your clients, but you're also starting to tap into the skill sets that it needs to become a B, to now start to help coaches. And once you start to do that, you start to bring more value to more people directly and indirectly. So why do you think these people make more? They make more because they are bringing more value to more people. It's basic economics. Now, once we are FIBC, the next step is what we call fully integrated business leader. That is integrated global director or integrated presidential director. Now, once we hit here, integrated global director, my friend, ding, 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 I bet you won't be saying you don't have any time. I bet you won't be saying that I don't have any money. I bet you won't be saying these things that the majority of our population, our marketplace, complains about. I bet you won't have the same stressors. I can almost guarantee you that. I bet you're going to be much more generous. I bet you will be a more valuable contributor to our economy. I bet you. And it's all because you have served more people. Now, in order for you to serve more people, you're going to have to get better with your skill sets. You're going to have to get better with your mindset, and you're going to have to get better with your action and consistency. Now, once you become more, you're going to be more valuable to more people, and income is going to find its way to you. But if you stay an employee and you don't really have to change and you can stay comfortable, you don't have to become more. And because you don't have to become more, you're probably not going to earn more. You're going to be frustrated. You're probably going to be, I don't know, You're probably going to be frustrated like I was. And that's just how it is, but I didn't understand it. So this is how you buy your time back, because here you're still working on a one-to-one ratio a lot. All of your income's coming from your own hard work. Here, I showed you, the majority of your income is not coming from your own one-to-one ratio. This is where you buy your time back. So you guys, if you ever hear someone say, I don't have that much time, I want you to immediately say, you should start coaching now. Like now. I walk by people every single day complaining about the lack of time. And I'm just like, well, listen, I got a solution for you. You should become a fully integrated business leader like yesterday. Because I bet you won't complain about time anymore. You'll have so much of it, and people will think you're so busy, by the way. They'll text you and say, hey, I know you're so busy right now. And you'll be like, no, I'm really not. Like, no, I'm really not. So another secret is utilizing your map. Most of us don't utilize our map effectively. So what do I mean by that? I want you to utilize your map like you're trying to pitch your company to Shark Tank. Okay? So these sharks, these investors are only going to invest in your company, which I just explained to you, you're a business owner. They're only going to invest in your company if they see you have a verifiable game plan. Your map is your game plan. If your map looks anything less than impressive, there's no way I'm investing into your company. That's how I want you to think about your map. So your map wants to look so jacked up because you're working your game plan so much. There should be so many red and black and blue ink marks over here. We should have arrows from Donna moving over here to these lines and then moving over to her top 10 coach candidates and then moving into her box to fill up her, that Donna's now a coach. And we should have these people over here and these people over here. We should have a complete idea of where we want to go because we're going to leave from the future and come back and act in the now. I should have a complete idea of how much money I want to earn. I should have a complete idea of how many lives I want to impact. I should have a complete idea of what I want my marriage to look like. I should have a complete idea of what I want to give back. I should have a complete idea of the scholarships I want to commence. I should have a complete idea of the books I want to write. I should have a complete idea of what the car looks like that I want to buy. I should have a complete idea of when I want to leave that full-time job that's not serving me. I should have a complete idea of all this stuff because I'm going to go pitch this to the sharks. If they look at this and it's not favorable, they're not going to invest in me, in my company, because a company is run by leaders. And if I'm not leader enough to even write down my own freaking game plan, why would anyone want to invest in me? I'm starting to get fired up a little bit. So how do we establish a sponsoring organization and culture? Well, let's just go to sponsoring one-on-one. It all starts with mindset. This whole thing has been about how we choose to think. I have explained to you that B's and I's do not think like E's and S's. The way they get to the B's and I's is they decide to think differently. So when you start sponsoring, it starts with your expectation and your mindset. Your mindset is everyone needs this. If I have not demonstrated that properly in the last hour and a half, I have done you a disservice. If you can't see that the majority of people in our country, and now as we expand out, actually need this opportunity, I don't know. I can make it shorter. I should probably make this within 60 minutes. That might help. But facts are facts. There are a ton of people that are struggling. So when I changed my mindset that everyone needs what we have, I went from having 6 coaches in basically 7 months to in a 2.5 month span, I sponsor 34 to 36 coaches. How in 7 months could I only bring on 6? And then in 2.5 months, I bring on an additional 36. My mindset changed. I went from understanding that, look, if I want to make more, if I want to help more people, I need way more help. And I just started to understand that everybody needs this. And because my mindset changed, everything else changed. I went from hoping that people wanted to join as coaches to knowing that they should. And so I started talking like that. My attitude changed, my posture changed, my frequency changed, my energy changed, my inspiration changed, my motivation changed, everything changed because my mindset went from you should maybe do this, it might be a good idea for you, to you should absolutely do this. What do you mean? So sponsoring one-on-one starts with a list. Do you even have a list of potential coaches? Let me give you a secret. Your potential coach list, I don't want to shit on you, but you'll want it to be longer than your potential client list. Please write that down. That was called a secret. Success leaves clues. Are you utilizing your map the way that I just outlined? Do you have whiteboards all up over your house with names and strategies on it? On my whiteboard right now, I have 30 people. I don't want to lie to you. I have 24 potential coaches on there. I'm looking at it right here. 24 potential coaches on there. Where's your whiteboards? We call it your war room. Are you filling your funnel with clients? We understand that for every 5 clients you have, at least one of them is a coach. Are you filling your funnel with clients? If not, I would suggest that you start there. I would take my frontline volume from 1,200 to 2,400 to 36 to 48 to 6,000 to 72 to 84 to 10 to 12 to 14. I would have it plateau somewhere around 15,000. Why? Because I just filled my funnel with a whole bunch of clients, and I know that for every 5 clients I have, at least one is a coach. So I just increased my odds of bringing on more coaches based off of more clients. Are you planting seeds? Are you dripping or are you layering on people? Are you telling people, are you saying things like, oh my gosh, Nancy, you're having so much success. You make an amazing coach. Are you saying things like, what's up, Nancy? What's up, coach? When Nancy posts in a client site, you say, Nancy, oh my gosh, you sound like a coach. You say, hey, Nancy, I think that you would make an amazing coach. You layer them by saying, hey, we got all these webinars that our leaders in our organization have put together, and all I have to do is invite Nancy to get on the webinar. Are you doing those things? Are you dripping? Are you planting seeds? Are you layering? Remember, a bee in their mentality isn't thinking if I plant, if I layer, if I drip right now, that Nancy's going to become a coach tomorrow. No. They know if they plant seeds, they drip, and they layer, Nancy will become a coach. They just don't know when. It's delayed gratification. It's literally the opposite mindset that employees have. An employee mindset would plant a seed right now and expect for Nancy to become a coach tomorrow. No. We plant seed today knowing that they're going to sprout next November. It's a completely different mindset. Do you use words like, would you be open to exploring a lot? Nancy, you make an amazing coach. I think you could help so many people. You can revolutionize the lives of so many people. You love so many people. You're so encouraging. Would you be open to exploring coaching? Are we doing that with a tremendous amount of people per day? Are you using your support team? If your skill sets are not high enough yet to do a coach explore call, are you utilizing your support team or the community to help you? Are you identifying, qualifying, and approaching daily? And do you realize that it's not a chore to sponsor? That it's literally our birthright. This is how we save lives. So where do you want to be? We've come to the end. That was a long training, wasn't it? There was so many nuggets in that training that I wish I would have known this stuff 7 years ago. And I just didn't. I didn't understand the economy. I didn't understand taxes. I didn't understand mindset. I didn't understand delayed gratification. I didn't understand impact. I didn't understand value. I didn't understand why it just was not bright to do many of the things that I did. I didn't understand any of that stuff. I just knew how to work hard. That's what I brought. I knew that I wanted more, but I didn't understand our business model. I didn't understand how to maximize the compensation plan. I didn't understand any of that stuff. And I certainly didn't understand our opportunity. This is why I quit after only 2 weeks of coaching. I gave it 2 weeks. And I was like the majority of people that are out there that quit. They say they can't do it. They give up. They say it's too hard. It takes too much time. It takes too much effort. I don't have enough time. I have to put my kids down. We have summer vacation. We have winter vacation. We have spring vacation. We're going on a trip. I was like all those folks. They wouldn't give up the good for the great. And now I look back after 7 years and those folks are still singing those same sob stories. Can you believe that? When all it comes down to changing your mindset, moving from the left side of the quadrant to the right side, understanding that if we bring more value to more people and that millions have issues that we have the solutions for. Once we understand that, then I think we can trend towards freedom. So where do you want to be? And hopefully this brought you a little bit more value. If it brought you value at all, please let me know. Please comment in the comments there. And please let me know if this helped at all. I'm going to do this again. I want to see if I can shorten it down. But I think it's important that we understand what the opportunity that we have. So love you all. Hopefully this was helpful. Can't believe we went 1 hour and 43 minutes, but the Facebook Live is there, so you can watch the recording if you want. And hopefully this gave you a different perspective of the business that you have. I've never, ever seen anything like it. And by the way, I want to make one more point. Let me stop share real fast. I want to make one more point to this group. I have associated with myself, I've been around people who society would call rich or wealthy, but they still have a lack, a scarcity, and a poverty mindset. So one isn't the direct correlation with the other. Because I've been around people that if you looked at their bank statements and their financial statements, it would say net worth of $1 million or more. And yet they still have a poverty mindset. They're not as generous as I believe we ought to be. They'll still say things like, why would I go help more clients and coaches when my family's taken care of? Now, that is not an abundance mindset. An abundance mindset of course, I would go help more clients and coaches. Of course, I would go bring more value to the marketplace. Of course, I would go support more people because I understand that our economy is like a big organism that has all these organs. So one affects the other. Just like if you ate freaking 5 In-N-Out double-doubles a day, even though you're putting it into your mouth, eventually it's going to affect your toes. Why? Because you're going to become diabetic, and one of the first things we're going to need to do is remove your freaking feet. So even though you put it into your mouth, it affects other parts of the organism. It's the same thing with our marketplace. So when folks have a lack mindset, they also are affecting other areas of our marketplace and our economy. When they say, I have enough for me, then we're not bringing more value to more people. So I hope this was helpful, you guys. Love you guys. Have a great night.